Welcome back, everyone, to the Creator Spotlight. I'm still Jeremy Lambert. That is still Steven Jensen, and joined tonight by a man you may have seen this past weekend at Black Label Pro, Slamilton. He is the rudest, meanest son of a bitch you've ever met. He is yours rudely. He is a man who can take you higher. He is Trevor Outlaw. How you doing,
Trevor? Trevor. I'm doing fantastic. I'm having a wonderful night. It's Wednesday. I don't know why I'm looking as if I got a wristwatch on, but it's one of those days, man. You know, I had a question for you guys if you guys could take me higher, but you kind of beat me to it. So,
well, thank you for joining us here. We really appreciate it.
The pleasure's all yours. Don't get it mistaken, though. The pleasure is all yours.
It is. Fair. Let's jump right into it. I know Sean Ross Sapp tried to take some headlines from Black Label Pro Slamilton. We had a great event. Josh Bishop was on there. Violence is Forever was on there. Matt Mikowski winning titles. We all know the standout event at the event. Trevor Outlaw, Creed, Higher. Tell us about it. Walk us through it, because I know this was not your original theme song. This was not the song you typically come out to.
Yeah, it's definitely a little different. Before I get into that, though, I'm so used to people just treating me like absolute dog water in these openings, and they always try to get one over at my expense, and they always fail every time. So I'm going to give you kudos for not only recognizing the talent when you see it, but really spotlighting that. Like, yeah, all these other guys that are on the show are cool and dandy, but when Trevor Outlaw comes out to Creed, it's a big deal. You know, you can have your 630s and Spanish flies and all that crazy mumbo jumbo, but when Trevor Outlaw comes out, that's what people pay attention to. The Creed thing, man, you know, it kind of was something that blew up in my face. I'm not a very liked person in the city of Chicago, well, in most of professional wrestling as a whole. It seems that the only time people see anything that I do is when something violent is happening to me or I'm being embarrassed. So for a clip to go around like this, and it's not in a negative light, it's actually very refreshing. But I thought, you know, to get a little bit of revenge on these pricks that treat me like garbage in Chicago, I was like, you know what? I thought that they would have hated it. And I was like, I'm going to come out to Creed, because everybody always talks about how great Billy Squire is and how great the Stroke is. And they're right. Billy Stroke is the man, or Billy Stroke. Billy Squire's the man. But I wanted to try something different. And to my surprise, everybody went nuts and loved it. Like, it was, I mean, to have an entire building singing the song with me and cheering me on, I'll be honest with you, this is probably the first time I've ever gotten any sort of positive reinforcement.
Oh, we lost you right as you were saying. Oh, wait, sorry, lost you right. We lost you for a second, right as you were finally getting some positive reinforcement.
That's what I'm saying, man. Look what happens. I say I finally get some positive reinforcement in my life, and then my camera goes kaput. My headphones aren't even working, so I'm just gonna raw dog the rest of this interview. See what I mean? Like, I can't have anything nice. Like, my parents never took me to Disneyland. That's a shoot. You know, my girlfriend's slapped me in the face in front of people at shows before. That also was a shoot. But you know what? I seriously, like, I had the time of my life on Saturday, and I don't know, maybe this means I'm going to turn a new leaf with my attitude. Probably not, because a lot of things piss me off, and let's face it, like, I'm not paying for therapy. I'm just going to beat people up. So
now, I did see on social media, if I'm not mistaken, that was like, you're retiring that now, though, or maybe are you maybe not going to? I mean, with all the attention, like, maybe will you run that back a little bit and maybe use it a little more often going forward? Or was it just like the perfect thing where it's like, you know, ended on top, leading the people wanting more, you know?
That's kind of what I'm thinking with it, right? Like, it's one of those things that, like, my job is to kick people's ass and make money, right? But on the contrary, I also have a little vendetta against people. You know, I come out there and I get a lot of shit from people, but when I go out there and I do my thing and people are like, okay, you know what? Maybe we should start taking him a little bit more seriously. I don't know how much more seriously people can take me coming out and, you know, holding my hands up in a godlike fashion and screaming, "Can you take me higher?" But yeah, you know, I like to take things away from people. You know, if they don't deserve it, you know, Jeremy was rocking out and he deserved it in that time. But I don't know if I go anywhere else that if I ask if these people can take me higher, I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. So, you know, maybe I take it away for a little while. Maybe I'm going to have to make the people earn it.
Okay, that's fair. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Here's what you do, Trevor. Next time, you use it the first time in every new city and everything, get them into it. Next time you return to the city, it starts with it. Before the chorus comes on, you cut it. You cut it before the chorus. Imagine how upset people are when they're ready to scream.
And I won't even come out either. Like, I'll let the song play for like a minute and like 10, 15 seconds. Oh, the promoters are probably... Here's the thing. It'll be so good, though, that I'll never get asked back after that, though. Like, the first time they'll be like, this is amazing, right? Like, we got to have him back. We love printing money with Trevor. And then I'm holding their show up for a minute and 20 seconds. And all of a sudden they're like, well, now these people are upset. But I don't know. Maybe if I put a case of water backstage for them, maybe they'll keep bringing me in. So
that's a hot topic. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Let's be honest. If it's a Black Label Pro show, that show's already 8 hours long anyway, with 13, 15, 18 matches. So like,
bro, you say 13, 15, 18 as if that's like a big number. Like that's a light BLP show. That's such a light BLP show. Oh my God. I remember Slamilton last year was like 28 matches. And it's, the shows are good. The shows are fantastic, but it's like, at some point, and we all have told Mikey, it's like, dude, you're holding the fans and you're holding us hostage. Like, I want to go home. I want to go home, play with my dog, spend time with my hot girlfriend. I don't want to be in this venue with all these sweaty bastards who don't use deodorant. It's just like, and there's no water half the time. No, I'm kidding. Black Label Pro, there's always water. Usually there's pizza in the back too. There was no pizza this weekend, but there was a lot of Creed, so we had a lot of Creed.
Yes, well, shout out to Mikey, and I was going to ask about that actually because I wanted to know, like, was it the plan before you went out there to run the song, the entire length of the song on your intro, or did you just feel it in that moment and then like the repeated plays after? Like, I mean, I feel like and then on top of that, it's like most other shows, as you were saying, I'd be sitting there thinking, what's the promoter think about this? How are they on time? But it's BLP, it's Mikey. I'm like, they probably have that venue ready for the entire day if they need to go the entire day. So was all this in the moment as far as like running the entire song and like, just going with it?
Yeah, it was 100% of the spur of the moment thing. Like, I don't even think I knew I was going to come out to it until like maybe 20 minutes before the show started. I did it at the Purdue show that we did a few weeks back because I was like, you know what? None of these kids have ever seen wrestling before in their life, and they're a bunch of college kids. Like, let's give them some fun. And I tried it again, and it was just I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what was happening. The only game plan I had going into the day was like, Hayden Backlund and I are very good friends. We've trained together before. We trained together at the Nightmare Factory. We've been on multiple shows together throughout the Independence over the last year or so. And I love the dude. I mean, like, I never had a brother. I wish I did. I got stuck with two bitch sisters. But I kind of, I look at Hayden and I'm like, this is the closest thing I'll ever be to a real brother. And, of course, Mikey wants me to fight him. But the craziest part about this wasn't even originally the match. Like, I was supposed to wrestle Matt Brannigan in a dog collar match. This dude's been twisting my nipples, ruffling my feathers all year long. So, of course, Mikey's like, well, this has got to end. Let's do it in the most violent match possible. So it goes from one scenario of trying to be murdered to another. So the only thing that was on my mind that day was like, I don't want to fight my friend. I'm a regular here at Black Label Pro. Hayden walked in and just with dirty shoes and just put his feet up and said, I'm here, and I love it. But I'm not gonna let Mikey tear my friendships apart. So why would we kill each other when we have a locker room full of all these people who can't stand us, when we could just beat the hell out of them? You know what I mean? So that was the only thing that I had planned going into the day. The music thing, it was just I needed some time to think. I was coming out and I'm like, oh damn, like this is really happening. I'm about to fight my best friend right now, and I said, hey man, play Creed. We're doing Creed today. We need something different, and it brought on a life of its own. I'll tell you what, if I didn't have that energy that day from the crowd, that body slam on the floor I took, whoo, I don't think I would be here sitting and doing this interview with you guys right now.
Yeah, well, I love the dynamic of the match because, like you said, totally different than going in there and having a dog collar match with Brannigan. Going in there and having a jerk off with your friend, and it's one of those
It
things
went
where
from being the greatest blow off of all time to the greatest jerk off of all time.
Yes. Whose small package won the jerk off? Like that's the question at the end of, because it came down to a double pin there, and I think maybe you got the win there. I mean, if we're being honest, but I mean it's your friend though, so
you know what? Listen, we're still kind of trying to work the kinks out of that. Me personally, I think it was me. I was the one that slipped the small package in the first place. Yeah, he might have gotten a little leverage, but like, I don't know. I've had a lot of issues with referees this year as well. So, I mean, the fact that referee Ned just stopped the song at one point, it kind of makes me think that like maybe there was a shady count. But you know what? Maybe if he wasn't being such a shady referee, maybe it wouldn't have brought the alliance of me and Hayden. I think sometimes professional wrestling is crazy because we're all a bunch of dumbasses, right? I'm college educated and I can still admit that I'm a dumbass, but that's because I'm smarter than the rest of these dumbasses. So, king of the morons, if you will.
I don't like that referee, by the way. I met him the week before. Yeah. The first time I met him, I was like, he seemed like he was on the take. I'm not a fan of him.
Yeah, Ned's a dick. And I'm happy that you said that. Jeremy, I really like you, man. You're doing a good job. I might have to put you on my payroll.
Thank you.
Dude, Jeremy was, I was watching the show from home, and Jeremy was all over during the entrance, during afterwards, all over social media. Like, he was your number one cheerleader out there, Trevor. Maybe he does deserve to be a part of, Team Outlaw out there.
That's what I'm saying. Me and Hayden and I are workshopping tag team names, but we're gonna need somebody. We're gonna need somebody to represent with us. So, Jeremy, I think I'm gonna have to have you out there. I'd ask Sean, but I know he's still icing his wounds. Shaza brutally attacked him and assaulted him, and I hope he's recovering and doing well.
He's fine. Who cares?
Oh, is there a little heat between you two?
Oh, I always try to bury Sean. Are you kidding me? He came out there. I was booing him. I was happy Shaza beat him up. I was very happy that Shaza beat him up.
So maybe we form an alliance. We tell Sean to find a couple of bums to tag with, and I say we get ourselves a sweet ass trios match going.
Okay, I'm for this. Hey, look, I like getting bookings. I like getting money. So
here's the deal, though. You got to wear leopard, though. Like if you're gonna roll with my crew, you gotta dress like us. You know what I'm saying?
I can do that.
You can't be sticking out like a sore thumb. If you don't mesh in with the picture,
I can do that. I don't know if it's gonna be expensive leopard, but it'll be leopard.
Listen. Your outfit costs as much as it feels, right?
There you go. I can easily do that. Look, I appreciate that.
Hey, what do you think about this? Am I gassing him up too much, or is he blowing smoke up my ass? Do you think he can hang in the rope?
No, this is genuine. Like this, yeah. I think. Listen, I was trying to read the room when the entrance was happening, and like Jeremy, absolutely, like he stood every time that chorus hit. Him and Cher both are our friend show Delaware. The two of them. This is legitimate. So. I think he can hang. I'd be happy to be a part of this as well if I'm able to.
We'll give you a tryout. I gotta give you a formal tryout. I saw Jeremy Rocket out in action. I gotta see you doing it. I gotta see you scooting to some Creed for me.
Now I'm gonna have to brush up on the lyrics. I remember the song, but also the link here for me with this song is I'm a lifelong diehard fan of the Minnesota Vikings, and my quarterback, who is currently injured, Kirk Cousins, kind of brought Creed back recently as well. He brought it to the Vikings locker room this season, and like kind of became like a huge Creed fan. So it's kind of a lot of my universes are merging right now between being a Vikings fan, being a fan of yours, Creed.
It's the multiverse, bro. It's the multiverse is crashing down.
Yes.
Trevor, I'll also tell you how I'm on your side. I don't like Matt Brannigan either.
Yeah, he's kind of a dick, dude.
Yeah, he beat me in an Oreo eating contest, so I got big time heat with him.
Shit. Yo, I say we crush a bunch of them up, and instead of like waterboarding him, we just shove a bunch of Oreo crumbs in his mouth and like hold him down so that he like suffocates and die. You know what? Actually, I think I'm gonna need you guys to edit that part out because I don't want to like admit to murder on here, but like you get where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Right? Like, listen, I'm as Italian as they come, brother. If I need to make somebody disappear, we'll make it happen. All right.
So I'm for this. I'm for this torturing Matt Brannigan. I'm not condoning death either, but I'm for torturing Matt Brannigan. You might
have, hey, we've got some deep rooted beef. That man's chafed my nipples so hard that like I don't know if I'd be able to stop choking him. So maybe I will kind of need you there to pull me back a little bit so that I don't like full-fledged OJ the man.
I got you. Yeah, we don't need
allegedly.
We don't need all that.
Allegedly OJ the man.
Why do you?
And then we'll write a
think...
book. I'll write a book. I didn't kill Matt Brannigan, but if I did, here's how I did it.
Exactly.
Why do you think Matt Brannigan? Is it jealousy that Brannigan keeps going after you like this?
You know, it was I don't know, man. Like at first I was kind of like, oh, hell yeah, this guy, like, I'm ready for this match. You know, I watched a lot of film. I'm not going to say what kind of film to prepare for that match, but
sure.
I watched a lot of film. And in the moment, you know, I was like, hey, maybe we could be friends. But I don't know. It turned out like he's just a selfish bastard and he only likes dudes that ram hot dogs down their throats. So, I mean, I myself would like to consider, you know, I think I'm a glizzy connoisseur, but, you know, I don't know. I guess I don't need as many glizzies as Ronnie does, but one of us is going to die of heart failure before we're 40, and it's not going to be me.
That was my biggest fear, honestly, is like going after Brannigan, get you on the radar of Megabyte Ronnie. I don't want that guy coming after me. I don't want him eating me or beating me up.
Yeah, he's a dick too. I don't like either of them. You know, I was ready to send Matt Brannigan packing, and then he brought out the Warlord, and he himself became the Whore Lord, and it was, dude, I can't believe a 60-something-year-old man put me in a full Nelson. Like, all of these Brannigan shenanigans that I've had to deal with, I would like to think that they're behind me, but having somebody like Hayden Backlund in my corner is going to prevent a lot of these things from happening. So,
Brannigan shenanigans is very marketable.
Yeah, good. I came up with that, and I was like, I'm never going to say anything else. This is it, the Brannigan shenanigans. So if he ends up making money off of that, he owes me some royalties. But then again, like I might have illegally pirated his tapes, so I might owe him like $10.
He makes good money off of that.
Sure. Yeah. I'm sure.
He promotes it very
That's
well.
why I'm like, bro, why you got to come professionally wrestle and try to like mess with me, dude? Like, you're making good money clapping cheeks, bro. Like, and then in the match, he claps. Dude, I've never been slapped on the ass and or chopped harder than we had a triple threat. It was me, Matt Brannigan, and Young Jay Lee. And I've never gotten smacked so hard in my life that my hole was on fire for days afterwards.
How do you treat that?
I ice my cheek.
Oh, there you go. Okay. You ever use the someone who's pretty infamous on our show is a man everyone knows in the wrestling business seems, you know, he goes by CM Punk, Phil Brooks. There's actually a really valuable lesson I learned from him years and years and years ago from a shoot interview that he did. He taught me like 20 years ago about the green gold bond. It's like the green powder gold bond. It's like the medicated gold bond. Just throwing it out there. That stuff has done me wonders throughout the years on anything that hurts, pretty much. So
you're saying to put some green gold bond on my butthole?
Just
is that what you're advising? I just want to make sure that we're being clear here. I didn't want to get into medical terms here, but
I'm just saying I don't know if that's necessarily the best idea. I'm just saying there are, I don't know, beyond the ice, I feel like there's probably other options as well.
Yeah. I mean, hey, man, I'm down to try anything once, so I'll give it a shot. Can't knock until I try it, right?
Yeah, yes. It does sound like that's what you're condoning here, by the way.
I will say this. There have been times in my life where I'm like, ice isn't going to work. What can I, in like the Gold Bond helps. I'm just saying. I learned that from CM Punk.
I'm not going to ask you for pictures for reference. I'm going to take your word on this. I'll just go ahead and say I believe you. If Uncle Phil told you that, then I believe you.
Yes. Very, very honorable and trustworthy man.
CM
Punk, so, yes.
You seem to find yourself in a lot of different shenanigans, Trevor. We saw you recently on ROH television against Brandon Cutler and Colt Cabana. Those guys are very serious professional wrestlers. And how do you find yourself in these situations?
Dude, I don't know, man. But like, I'm kind of getting pissed off because it's like ever since I came onto the scene, I feel like my career has just been embarrassment after embarrassment after embarrassment. Like, it all stems back to that confetti cannon to the nuts back at the Collective in 2020.
That was amazing.
It was not amazing, dude.
I'm just saying it was amazing. The chances of that happening. I'm sorry.
So I'd never used them before, and I had thought that like there was like a metal end on them, and Frank had never used these ones either, Frank the Clown. And I'm thinking like, okay, the metal, it's going to shoot out. So like from a scientific point, like that metal is going to be stable, right? It's going to come straight out of that hole. So that way it's not combusting. It'll just go shoot out. This explains why I never took chemistry in high school and never had to do science in college, because I was wrong, and I'm aiming it higher. Like, oh, better not hit the fans. I'm going to get in trouble, and I'm just aiming it right at, like, people thought they were like, oh, dude, that was hilarious. I can't believe, did you do that on purpose? And I'm like, if you understood the amount of pain that I went through, why I wouldn't even wish that upon my worst enemy. Like, I felt my soul leave my body. It was one of those things that I got hit, and the first second I was able to process, like, oh shit, this really happened. And then as I hit the ground, I'm like, oh man, if this gets around, this is gonna be rough. And I got around all right. Immediately got around. Immediately got around. Let's see what else. I got curb stomped into a cake by Athena. That went all over the place. It took me a week to get the cake out of my beard. I would keep showering and I would just keep finding clumps of cake in my beard. Like, and now it's the ROH stuff. It's like, yeah, the internet's having a blast with that one. They're really ripping it to shreds. But hey, man, sometimes things happen. I don't. All these assholes that are making fun of it. I'd like to see these people get put into a position where they're getting Bronco busted. And you tell me if you can come to your senses afterwards, because I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of how the animatronics of people's parts smacking in faces, and you get backlash hits from different things. And listen, it was a traumatic experience, so I'd rather not go into it. But Ring of Honor was cool. It was cool to be there.
It's cool you got to team up with the GPA guy who both y'all in freelance, and how was it doing it alongside GPA on Ring of Honor?
So it was cool. I've actually never shared the ring with GPA before.
Really?
I think GPA overall swell guy. I think he's fantastic. I think Laney's fantastic, and I think Jeff is one of those guys that's extremely underrated. He's been around on the scene for Chicago for quite some time, and I don't think people realize how great that he is at making moments. So to be able to share that experience with him was cool, because I know what Jeff brings to the table. I know how talented he is, and for me, that was my first time doing any extra work for AEW, for ROH, for any of that. So, or doing a match rather. And for it to be on the anniversary of my fourth year in wrestling was really cool. Like, I'll be honest with you guys, like, outside of all the funny stuff that's happened, like, it's been a real uphill battle in my career for me, man. Like, I was wrestling with a messed up knee and tore a bunch of ligaments and missed the entirety of 2022. I was able to manage, but so missing that year of my career, coming back, I had 6 bone spurs pulled out of my arm in June, so I had to miss a couple months from that. On top of all of that, starting my career right before a global pandemic. So wrestling doesn't owe us anything. And I've already been kind of a bitter prick with the way that I've been treated my whole life. So I'm used to eating a lot of crap sandwiches, if you will. But, to take a step back and kind of have that moment where it's like, damn, like this is whether it's a graphic on social media for somebody or whether it's the biggest thing that they do, it's still a moment that you can take around and just look and soak everything in and be like, wow, like this is cool. Like, not everybody gets to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, speaking of this being a first experience on a bigger platform like that and all the crap sandwiches that you have eaten, did you get to take advantage of the actual catering at Ring of Honor? Because we've heard varying experiences about people feeling comfortable eating the food backstage, not feeling comfortable, kind of, how is that with the catering and the backstage vibe being there at Ring of Honor?
It was cool. Like I ate a lot of chicken and rice that day. It was at the Wintrust Arena. So I've been backstage at a few of these different shows before. I've been to a few of the different venues, and the first time I was there, Cody was still there. So I was still under him and QT's tutelage. So it makes a situation like that a lot easier because they'll tell you straight up, especially QT. QT's probably one of the most straightforward people I've ever met. And I have a tremendous respect for him for that because, you know, he'll be like, this is what you don't do. You know, they're not going to necessarily tell you what to do. They're going to tell you what not to do, because the rest of it's just kind of common sense. You know, it's, but they're very cool about, like, listen, like, everybody's allowed to eat, but, you know, you got to know your role when you're there, right? Like, I'm not, you know, a Will Ospreay. I'm not signed to like some multi-million-dollar contract and I can just walk around and do whatever I want. I'm going to make sure that everybody else is eating and stuff first, but they're very good to extra talent. So I was, you know, I'm not grateful for a lot of things in life, but I'm really grateful for the experience that I got there.
I have a follow-up about the Nightmare Factory and stuff.
Sure.
But Jeremy, did you have anything?
No, I knew you were going to follow up with that, so I was going to let you go.
Just but the reason we brought up the catering is because we've heard everything from people like Brannigan, for instance. But basically, it sounded like he brought a sack back there and took food home, and Cole Radrick was afraid to go eat the corn, and he regrets it because he was like, you know, so.
Cole Radrick's a weirdo, though, man. Like, here's the thing. I hate this prick so much. I don't know who I hate more, him or Matt Brannigan. So I let this prick stay at my house, and he's coming back from England. He's doing this big tour of the UK, which proud of him. Like, that kid, as much shit as I give him, I will say, like, his ability to connect with fans and to he is genuinely a good human being. But sometimes there's people that are just so nice and so good that I'm like, I just want to punch you in the mouth all the time. But he comes back home, and I'm like, let's get some food, man. He's like, yeah, you know, everything over there sucks. He's like, all I can eat is just chicken tenders, and they have to be dry. He's like, we got to go to Buffalo Wild Wings. We got to get, I want to get boneless wings, no sauce. I'm like, so you want chicken tenders is what you're telling me. You want chicken fingers. Do you want me to take you somewhere with the kids menu? They didn't have chicken fingers, so I'm sure that's probably why Cole didn't eat, but usually there's a decent amount left at the end of the night too, where they'll just be like, hey, grab it. Like, I stay away from the sweets because I have the worst sweet tooth. But then at the end of the night, like, I'll kind of like make a box, and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to leave this. And then if other people, because I have friends that are there too, I'm like, hey, like, if you want this dessert, I packed it up. Don't know if you got to eat or not. And then they say, oh no, just take it. Then I'll be like, all right, cool. Like, I'm going to eat like 6 cookies before I leave this venue today. But, you know,
yes,
after I get my ass kicked and Bronco busted for the world to see first.
There you go. Well, yeah, I guess so going into the Nightmare Factory a little bit, you know, we mentioned you and Hayden both trading there and wrestling each other recently, and I'm about as big of a loud and proud Cody Rhodes fan as you will ever find.
Hell yeah.
And so anyone who has trained with him with the Nightmare Factory, anything that has to do with that, I'm always interested just to know more about your experience there, and just kind of just seeing so much talent at kind of every level and every kind of company that's kind of coming out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just kind of like just your overall just kind of thoughts and your experience like being a part of that.
Sure. So for me, you know, I try to look at things differently, and I don't want to say this to like throw people under the bus. I mean, honestly, I don't give a shit because in today's day and age, everybody's feelings get hurt over everything. You know, there's a lot of people that go into those camps with the idea that, like, I'm going to get a look at, and when I went, like I said, Cody was still with AEW at the time.
Right.
So him and QT are both there. I think a lot of people look at these camps as like, that's my way to get signed. I'm going to get signed right away if I go to this camp. If I spend this money, I'm going to get to this camp. And I knew that was bullshit from the jump. You know, I was looking at it as we're in a time where, like, it was towards the end of the pandemic before shows started to come back, but they were kind of starting to. So I was like, I want to take my education and my training to the next level. You know, I think people see me out there and they're like, oh, haha, he's funny, he does this and that. But, like, I'm a student of the game. Like, I love this business. I have since I was a child. I mean, the hard work and eating all the shit sandwiches, I'm like, as much as it sucks, like, I live for that kind of stuff because you're always grinding for something. And when I got there, I think they had their guard up at first because, like, who's this loudmouth douchebag walking around in leopard print? You know, like, I know people look at me and I have a punchable face, but as I got to know them, like, I would ask a lot of questions, and you can kind of sort out, like, who's asking questions just to see, like, where to kind of gauge, like, interest versus, like, who's asking questions on things that they're going to genuinely get better. And I think there was one day in particular, I I just wasn't having a good day. Like the strength and conditioning was fine, but like my in-ring, like you have an off day here and there. And QT used me as an example, and I was like, thank you. I was like, what else? I was like, what else did I do wrong? And he goes, why are you thanking me? I just reamed you in front of an entire class. And I told him, I'm like, because if you don't tell me what I'm doing that's not working, how am I going to get better? And those are the things that I look for. I think we're in a day and age where it's like everybody can get online and say, oh, this was fantastic, this was awesome, this was that. But like, then to the contrary, you're going to get people to say that everything sucks. But to be able to spend time with people that have the experience that guys like Cody and QT do, like, you'd be a fool not to listen to what they have to say. And then on the other side with like stuff with Cody, like I think Cody helped me out a lot with like the presentation of who I am. I've always been a firm believer in dress for the job that you want, not for the job that you have. So, I mean, even on the indies, I'm pretty much always dressed up. I'm always wearing a nice shirt and pants. And it's, especially for a couple of places when I was first going and setting up, like I've gotten a lot more opportunities based off of merit. I might be a prick, but like I still work my ass off. And I think people see that and they're like, okay, Andy dresses well on top of that. Like, let's give this guy an opportunity. And I think Cody saw that in me and he was like, hey, like, when we got invited back there, he was like, I really appreciate you coming and dressing up. It's casual at AEW, but if it's the little things like that. And just on top of that, like promos too, like, they put you in a room with just him and it's like, you can either cut a promo on somebody or like cut a promo explaining who you are and why you are the way that you are or what makes this person tick. And I did that. And like, man, the conversations that I had with him, like just really nailing down, like the presentation and just, he's like, when you talk, he's like, you're not selling me something. I believe what you're saying because this is you. And I think authenticity in wrestling is something that's very much lacking in all regards. People want you to believe they're this, and that, but like in reality, like they're not. So for me to have the background that I do and be like, this is who I am, and put it out there, like he showed me how to make that marketable. Being yourself is marketable in any regard. It's one of those things that like I could sit here and I could cry about, oh, well, people boo me and oh, people treat me like shit. Or I can slap Rudist on a t-shirt and make it not look like a wrestling shirt and be like, wow, that's pretty sick. I'm going to buy that. I sell my stuff to more people that aren't wrestling fans that are, because it's not just, it's also looking past just the wrestling aspect, things that transcend the wrestling world to pop culture. Like you look at things like the NWO logo is like, dude, I can't tell you how many people I've seen that like have no idea what wrestling is or never heard of it. And they wear that shirt. Nowadays, it's not as common because wrestling's in a boom period. But yeah, sorry for such a long rant, but no, my experience was fantastic. Awesome. I can't, I don't have a lot of positive things to say about people normally, but I can't sing to the praises of Cody and QT enough. And like, neither of them are in a position where they can get me a job. So I have no reason to make it's like, if you go in there to learn, you're going to learn, but it's the thing about the school is like, it was like Disneyland of pro wrestling. You get a little bit of everything. The strength and conditioning program I had was top notch. I think between fighting 2 injuries, the reason why I've been able to bounce back at the strength that I'm able to and get past that is because of these programs. What I've learned about nutrition with counting my own macros and with everything that I cook and prep, like counting out what I'm doing, like there's just so much more that goes into what we do than the bumps in the ring. And, the education I got there was next to none. I think there's a lot of people that take advantage of it. And it's like, oh, well, I'll just get a match from dark from this. Or like, oh, I'm just going to say that I got trained by these guys. Like, I bring it up because I'm appreciative of what they've taught me, but I'm not one of those guys that likes to shove it down in my face and in other people's faces, because I don't believe that a school is good enough to get somebody booked, because at the end of the day, and Cody will say it, you still got to do the work. So not to take a page out of his book too much like a Mark, but I mean, It's the truth.
I'll be Mark all day, baby. All day. I'm a massive Mark. I'm a big do the work guy myself, Trevor. So
Jensen, I feel like you're ready to run through a wall after.
Dude,
after
honestly, man, like
get a neck tat. You should do it. Get the neck tat.
There's a whole story behind that.
Yeah,
dude.
there's a whole story about this.
Without getting into it too much, the plan, and everyone who's watching this show knows this. The plan was had Cody Rhodes defeated Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 39 for the title. I was going to appear on our show live, and I had an appointment to get my hair dyed, and I was going to get the logo tattooed on my arm, and I was going to I was ready. I was ready for it. And then he lost. So now hopefully he gets the job done at WrestleMania 40, and I'm gonna actually do it. And to that point with the logo, I have a lot of people asking me because I have so much Cody Rhodes merch that I'm wearing around in public. People randomly ask me that's what is that? That's pretty cool. Or they remember the old Stone Cold skull, and they're like, that's kind of like that. That's pretty badass. So even to your point of just marketing yourself, but dude, I pretty much any follow-up I could have had, you answered all in that. That was one of the best. We've interviewed a lot of people. That was one of the best answers we've ever had. So I really appreciate you telling us all that about your experience. That's great stuff.
I can go on forever. So sometimes you know what, it might be an Italian trope that we go on and we talk with our hands. It might be because I've gotten dropped on my head and I just love to ramble. But man, I could go for days about the things that I've learned there, and it's crazy because even after Black Label, all of the stuff, the positives that I got about Creed and this and that, I got some feedback from one of my coaches about what I could have done better, and I'll be honest with you guys, he hated it. He ripped me apart. It was one of those critiques that if some other people read it or got that, if they got that same critique, they probably would have quit. But I'm grateful to have that, because as much as the entertainment of the fans is what's most important, and Mikey loved it. Mikey called me afterwards and he was like, "You're a crazy bastard, but my kids love wrestling now because of you. They asked me if you're going to be at the shows," and he's like, "You're a prick, but I can't not have you there. Not only do the people want to see you get your ass kicked, my kids want to see you in general." So, it's things like that make me feel like, okay, you know what, maybe I'm doing the right things, but there's always more that can be done. You know what I mean? There's always more to be done. And I as many people as I want to kick in the mouth and as many people as I'm ready to disrespect in 2024, I don't want that to deter people from the fact that I love pro wrestling. I think pro wrestling is stupid as hell, but I think it's the greatest thing in the world. And, now that I'm fully healthy at 110%, I'm at my strongest I've ever been. I'm arguably in the best shape I've ever been. I'm really ready to hit the ball rolling next year.
I can tell you sold fans there, myself included. My friend Cher Delaware, my wife at home, the kids. I got kids, and they were watching, and they're like, "There's our stepdad singing," and they're like, "Who's singing to?" And it's Trevor Outlaw. I'm like, I don't know if we like him or not, but Jeremy's into him, so I guess we like him. It's cool. So you have sold more tickets now because of this.
Hell yeah. People love to hate me, but you know what? I think it's one of those things that we all got somebody you know what? If I can be somebody's Cole Radrick, then I'm okay with that. To me, I'm you just want to punch him in the face, but you know what? I want to give him a hug sometimes. And I get that a lot. It's one of those things, I hear that way more than I should, where people are like, "We hate you, but you're also entertaining as hell. We want to come back." And I'm like, maybe I should go to therapy, because shit like this is it really messes with my brain. I think I've gotten more brain damage from the things that people have said to me than some of the moves I've taken in the ring. And it's not even "Oh, you're out of shape," or this or that. It's just weird things that why would somebody say that? You're horrible, but I want to see more of you. All right, I don't know what you mean by that. I hope it's wrestling, and I hope it's not something weird and derogatory. But hey, you know what? You just keep on keeping on. Everybody needs somebody to hate. And if I'm fueled by hatred. When I was in school, when I was in amateur wrestling, I wasn't. I was the kid on the team that the football kids didn't like me because I wasn't from their world, but I was still gonna kick ass. I was gonna get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go for that run and cut that weight when I had to. And there's nothing that makes Trevor Outlaw, and there's nothing that fuels me more than having just a room full of people that hate my guts and proving every single one of them wrong. And whether it's proving them wrong with a win, with the quality of my match, or turning people around to be like, you know what, maybe he's not that much of an asshole after all, then I guess I'm doing something right. You know, that's all I can ask for.
I think in pro wrestling, the biggest compliment is I hate you, but I also just want to keep watching you.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, if that's selling tickets, like at the end of the day, like my job is to put asses in seats. So, you know, I guess, and maybe that's why I'm able to brush it off, because I think I realize, like, listen, whether you love me or whether you hate me, if you're paying money to come see me, then I'm doing my job. And to the promoters, pay attention to that, because while you have 30,000 other people that are doing the same shit, or you want to have a group of untrained people because you can book them for free, maybe take a look at investing into somebody that will actually invest in your people.
I want to circle back to the cake thing you talked about. So here's where like we're on the same wavelength here, Trevor. Like you're legitimately like one of my new favorite wrestlers of all time. Like I'm just like anything Trevor Outlaw, I'm down for right now. So the cake stuff, you mentioned it's tough to get out of your beard. I'm a man who has taken a cake to the face. Yeah. My wife threw this at me on the show. It's very difficult to get out of your beard. Look at that. You know this pain,
more
Trevor.
In, like, the brows. You got it like, see, the brows are hard to get it out too. Like,
yeah,
it's not fun. No. Did you make her sleep on the couch after that?
No, I had to sleep on the couch.
Bro.
It's terrible.
You can't do that. You can't do that. Listen, my girlfriend smacked me on live camera at a show, and I told her, "You're sleeping on the couch tonight." And I had myself, my dog, and her dog. Hey, shut up! I'm putting you over. See, he heard me talking about him.
Yeah.
I had all the dogs in my bed, and she slept on the couch. I might have gotten slapped again the next day, but that's neither here nor there. But you got to put your foot down, man.
Oh, she threw it right at me, and then you see it like it gets all over your face. It's very difficult to get out. It's
like it's not even just the cake itself. There's like the moisture, like the grease from it too. It's like you can keep wiping it off, but you're gonna feel it, and it's not fun. Like your beard's a little bit more reasonably length, so it wasn't too bad. But mine was you couldn't see, like, probably down to here at the time. It was like down past my chin. So it's like I'm combing it and I'm picking stuff out, and it's just like it was a nightmare. Yeah, like legit, like I couldn't stop finding little chunks and pieces out of it. I was so grossed out.
It's awful. It's awful.
Yeah. No more cake. I want no more confetti cannons, no more cake, no more Brannigan shenanigans.
None of it.
And no more promoters making me fight my best friends, okay? Because it's going to blow up in your faces, and then we're going to form the greatest tag teams ever. You know what? I'm going to give you guys a Fightful exclusive right now. Hayden Backlund and I don't know exactly when, but we're coming for the BLP Tag Team Championships. I'm making that declaration here. I have a pin over one half of the current BLP Tag Team Champions, and now that I have a partner, we are going to run Black Label Pro into the ground. I'm talking 2-hour shows. I'm talking shows with 10 matches or less, and I'm talking a hell of a lot more Trevor Outlaw. And you know what? If Jeremy and Steven, if you guys are there will be a lot more Creed too.
Ooh,
all of
I
this,
love it.
Right? Jensen will tell you, I don't need my wrestling shows lasting more than 2.5 hours. I don't need my matches. The sweet spot for me is like 13 to 18 minutes. Anything over 18 minutes, nope, get it out of here. You're speaking my language, Trevor.
I'm getting paid the same amount. Listen, I get paid the same amount of time to wrestle if I kick somebody's ass in 10 minutes or less than I would if I do it an hour. Why the hell would I want to wrestle for an hour?
Yes,
I'm with you.
So some old ass man who's probably chewing on 30 Blue Chews or whatever the hell he's promoting on his show to throw some stars at my face. No, thank you. Throw some dollars in my face. I'll tell you what. You want me to wrestle for an hour? I want to get paid to wrestle for an hour versus to wrestle for 10 minutes. Maybe we'll do something where it's like a timer. We're like, here, you get 10 minutes. And if you want me to, if I don't lose in 10 minutes, then I'm just going to get out and go home because I've done my time. And if you want me to wrestle longer, the longer it takes me to knock somebody out, then it's just more money you got to pay me. So there's a lot of factors that go into that, and I just don't think that promoters have time for it. So
this is what I loved about your match this past weekend is you did the double pin and everyone's like 5 more minutes, and you're like, no, you gotta pay me this.
People even knew like they moved it from 5 to 3, and even then you were like, no, we're not doing even 3. Like we're not doing anything. I'm out of here.
No, I said, listen, I'm not going to wrestle longer than I have to, and I will never wrestle more than one time on a show. If I'm wrestling more than one time, you're paying me twice. End of story. I called Mikey out and I said, Mikey, I'm not wrestling twice in a day. And if you want, you're giving me double pay. And he went like this. So I said, you know what? No more time for you guys. But there would be more time for Creed. There was more time for Creed. So
loved it. Loved every second. Loved every second of it.
Now, I hope you get that tag team title match because you, of course, are referring to your victory over Davey Bang, one half of Bang and Matthews, formerly known as the. I don't even say it anymore. Y'all know who they used to be. That would be a great match. So hopefully we see that soon. Hayden Blackland and yourself, Trevor Outlaw, taking on Bang and Matthews for those BLP tag team titles. I'd love to see it. You recently had a shot at Kevin Kuhn and his Black Label Pro Heavyweight title.
That didn't happen. I don't want to talk about that.
It didn't go so well. But you can rebound here with the tag title. That's what I'm getting at here. Like we can forget about all that, right?
Yeah, we can forget about that. That didn't happen. But I did pin Davey Bang, and they left me hanging, man. I brought those boys to the tag titles. I was the reason that they became the BLP champions. I was the one that was saying best in the Midwest before anybody else was about them. And then they leave me hanging for Jordan Oliver, and I get kicked in the face by Too Cold Scorpio. So I don't forget. Like, I may have gotten one strike on Davey Bang, and I won the battle, but I will also win the war. So
we're pushing for that. We're pushing for Trevor Outlaw to just take over the entire BLP promotion because these are the best ideas I've ever heard. And
Trev Label Pro, dude, TLP. Let's do it.
There we go. There we go. Trevor, thank you so much for joining us today. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
Are we skipping our regular question, or we're out of time?
He's not in his office.
I guess true. We always ask.
We will ask it. We
always ask the coolest thing in your room. If you have something cool in your room,
what is the coolest thing in your room, Trevor?
What's the coolest thing in my room? So we're in my office right now. I'm gonna say this $600 desk chair that I just bought. It's super nice. No, you know what? I'm lying. I'm gonna tell you what the greatest thing in this room is right now. I got some wrestling figures in here.
Yeah.
And you know what? You can say shit about being a toy guy, but here's the deal. Corporate America sucks, and if I look at these, it makes me not want to chop my head off. I'll tell you the greatest thing in this room. Steely Dan Can't Buy a Thrill on vinyl.
Nice.
Greatest album of all time.
Nice.
There you go. I very much respect the action figure collecting. My office behind me, actually, I'm currently in my living room, but I am full of action figures myself. So I very much respect it, Trevor. Good.
I got a nice window still. Keeps me busy.
I love that. And you got that Cody Rhodes AW Supreme there in the corner. Yeah. Go.
The RVD and the Jeff Hardy, those ones are
great.
Those are some good ones for me too. I got some good ones in there.
Hell yeah.
I apologize, Jensen. I went because he was in his office. I wasn't thinking. I was like, but Trevor has a very nice office.
Hey, anytime I can put over Steely Dan, brother, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean?
Like,
if it's
right, now, Trevor, where can the people find you at?
Find me at the Trevor Outlaw on all socials. ProWrestlingTees.com/Trevor Outlaw for merchandise. I've got some more stuff coming out soon. I'm a very big proponent on the designs that I have. Like, it'll be on like different shirt styles or materials that you can't really get online. So I always recommend like find me at a show. Keep an eye out for 2024. You know, it's been an uphill battle, but I got a lot of good things coming in the works next year. And just stay tuned. You know, I'm sure everybody says that, but you know, I'm not going down quietly. Not next year of all years. No way. Coming up on year 5, I'm ready to do some big things.
I look forward to it. I look forward to continuing to follow your career. Again, you made multiple fans for life this past weekend. So we appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. Guys, we'll be right back here on the Spotlight.